everybody. It's Emma from Paint Pony Studios. I have Kenzie and Courtney and Batsy here with me from the Perfect Pony Squad Discord. And we're going to do some BreyerFest predictions for 2023. I feel like we're cutting it pretty close on this one. Because,
just a little.
Just a little. We normally try to do it late December. And, you know, but that's when they start coming out with the actual, like, special runs is around this time, the beginning of the year. So we're hoping that we at least get I want to get one right. I want to get one right. Like, that's our goal, I think, yearly, is like one. Because last year we got LB and Spree, and we that we nailed that. Like, that was exact. We've gotten close with other ones. We got really close with, like, we knew there was going to be a rainbow Appaloosa for the 2021 art theme. And then there's the Marwari that year. Got the color wrong, but we got Marwari correct. Disclaimer, we're not oracles here. And yeah. And then we also have Batsy here, who is not familiar with the model horse hobby, has never been to BreyerFest, has no idea what we're talking about. We have filled her in a little bit, but I'm excited to have, like, a voice that, like, doesn't necessarily know 100% what's going on. I think that's fantastic.
I don't know a single thing. I think the closest I've ever been to a model horse hobby is that when I still used to ride horses as a baby, the like a horse equipment shop that we would usually frequent had like a dedicated like Breyer/horse toy showroom, and I would go in there sometimes, and I picked up like maybe 5 over the course of my lifetime and like played with them with my cousins, and that's about it.
Yeah, which is like, as long as you know, like, of Breyer, I think you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be totally fine.
I will not die.
Yeah, you won't die. We got this.
I will live forever.
We totally got this. So if anybody else pops in the voice chat during this time, we kind of left it open for anybody on the server to come in. We're all going to kind of go about doing our own thing. Previous years, we've recorded this inside in Star Stable and sat around a campfire. I don't particularly want my game to crash on me several times like it's done in the past. That's been so annoying, and I don't want to do that anymore. So we have like a podcast format. I made a nifty graphic 5 minutes before we started recording. So so we're gonna go ahead and start, and we might as well start with we already know what the celebration model is, and that's Bravo 54. On the Tricaner, the old Tricaner that nobody really likes. The thing that you kind of got to remember about BreyerFest celebration horses, though, is like they really don't ever go up in value. There's so many of them made that, like, it's not necessarily like gonna be something that's super sought after. It's not gonna be something super popular. You know, you're not gonna have, like, not every celebration horse is gonna end up being Alborozo. Reference for Batsy is Alborozo was a model done in 2008 for BreyerFest. It was specifically the celebration horse, and then after that they broke the mold and there are no more Alborozos. And now you can barely get one for $600, and that's in bad condition, basically.
Hello? Hello?
So yeah, not every celebration horse is gonna be an Alborozo.
It's so dark.
And also, that shouldn't be the only reason that you go to BreyerFest. Like, there's so many other things and other models that'll be available that the celebration horse shouldn't, like, be your, like, oh my god, well, if it sucks, I'm not gonna go. Like, don't do that. Don't be a party pooper.
My only break with them is that they used it in 2020 as a special run, and it looks pretty similar aside from being an Appaloosa.
Yeah, and it also looks like a run that they did like years ago, like probably like over a decade ago, maybe. The passport tricaner with just a different tail, the better tail.
Is it true that his owners picked the mold though also?
Yes.
Is that one of the things? Yeah.
Yep. That's something else that like I think people tend to forget when it comes to portrait models is Breyer can present whatever molds to them that they want, that feel like they fit their horse. And they can be like, hey, this one's like really popular and new and shiny and everything, and the owner could still go, yeah, but I want this. And that's happened before.
Yeah.
Sure.
People hating on this, like it's not necessarily Breyer's fault either.
No, exactly. So like if the owner thinks that this specific mold fits their horse the best, then that's on them. But the special runs that we're going to talk about first, and these are all the ticketed ones, you get 2 special runs on your 3-day ticket. You can't get 2 of the same. We've kind of gotten it down to like there's a little bit of a quote science on these at this point. And I say that because everybody always wants to look for patterns, and knowing who's in the Breyer office making these horses, they don't care about patterns. They think it's funny to like go against what the hobby thinks is going to happen. And they're just a super creative team between Heather and Summer, who usually work on these models. They're super duper creative team, but there's typically always a surprise horse. So you don't know what you get when you buy it. That one's typically the most expensive. There's always a vintage one. There's always an animal. There's typically a gloss split that's like 50-50 matte versus gloss. Sometimes there's a mare and foal set. We've kind of seen that it's like every other year, but again, like that's not, there are no patterns. We can try to get this down to a science, but it never works. Sometimes there's a main split where there's like 2 different, like if something has a long mane, then they might do like a 50-50 split where half have a long mane and half have a short mane. Or they've done like loose versus braided. Last year there was a color split where they had a single pattern, but half the horses were like a bay base color, or what was it, buckskin? It was half were buckskin and half were palomino, right?
I think it was actually supposed to be a seal bay, but yeah, it looks pretty book.
Yeah. And then they have also done before where like some are like a solid color and some are patterned. There's always a decorator, which is like fantasy colors, crazy colors. And then there's just another one. There's another one that just doesn't exactly have like a name or a gimmick to it. It's just other.
It's like the newer mold.
Yeah. Yeah, the token new mold. Or token popular mold, probably, I should say. Courtney and I last night, this list that we have like a Google Doc going between all of us that is not exactly like, it wasn't very cohesive last night before about 10 p.m. And then Courtney and I somehow kicked it into high gear, and we mashed our brain cells together, and we came up with some stuff. I think my favorite thing on here, though, is as far as predictions of what will happen at BreyerFest itself, is we have on here human sacrifice. Yeah, at some point. You know, maybe at the horse park campground, somebody will, do ritual sacrifice.
It's
It's fine. It's fine.
sometimes.
And then we've also got on here, someone inevitably gets run over by a horse pulling a cart.
Oh, you know, to go over the idea before I said before we start recording, you were talking about how they do like different animals.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, oh, if it's driving, what about reindeer? Something. Grandma gets run over by a reindeer set.
That would be so bad if they actually like had reindeer pulling a cart, like if that was a thing at BreyerFest, and the audio to like welcome them into the arena was that grandma got run over by a reindeer. That'd be horrible. It'd be funny, but it'd be
I don't think
bad.
I would even be surprised at this point.
Yeah, because like didn't we hear somewhere before that like the DJ and the audio or whatever, that like the actual program in the arena is not something that Breyer has any control of?
Yes.
Yeah.
That for sure, because it was a little bit sketchy one year. Something that they had played over the loudspeaker.
Yeah.
Reno was a little iffy.
I can't remember what that was, I'll be honest.
No.
I know, like I remembered, but I don't remember what it was.
I don't remember what it was. And
Yeah.
Breyer came out and said, we don't control what happens over the speaker.
Right. Oh, that was weird. That's gonna like rack my brain for the rest of the night because I don't actually remember, but I remember all of us like, I know my mom and I don't know if you guys were like, were you with us? Like, were we sitting in the arena or were we just walking around? Because it was,
there.
I remember hearing that and we all kind of looked at each other. We were like, huh. Moving on to the special runs, we figured we'd start with the surprise because the surprise is always like the biggin, the one that everybody's got to have it regardless of like if they actually end up being like good, because there's always that FOMO of like, you know, getting it and then you don't want to not get it because what if it's good? Because if it's good and you like it, then you're going to be paying like $400, $500 for it in the future. Because even though the surprise as a whole is like a run of 4,000, 6,000,
6,000 this past one.
it was 6,000. Okay,
Something like that.
so even though it's a run of totally 6,000, or 7,500. I'm just looking at it right now. It was a run of 7,500, but there are micro runs within that. So last year there were 10 variations of the surprise horse. There was like 5 and 5. Yeah, but
They did, all of them were glossed or split though. You know what I mean? The wedge was only matte.
Yes. Yeah, the Wedgwood was loose mane and matte only.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So yeah, that's at 7,500 pieces. I don't think they're gonna raise the number this year.
No, I don't think they sold enough of them to be able to do that, honestly.
No.
No.
But,
yeah, but there were 5 variations that year, last year, and then there was there 5, and I'm gonna look up 2021 to see how many there were. Oh, it's not listed. Okay. I forget that Identifier Breyer is a little bit behind because of certain circumstances. Let me go look in 2020 and see if that one's.
2020 was 4. There's 4 different colors.
Yes. Okay. So that was for 2019 was,
and the run of 30 Appaloosa, so kind of 6.
right. 2017 I think was also 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there were 4. So you're looking at roughly between 4 and 5. And okay. And typically, and I say typically but we all know how Breyer likes to, well, all the surprises in the past couple years have been summer. Summer doesn't typically like to shake things up like Heather does. Heather's just an agent of chaos.
Hey man, the fuck?
Heather is a wonderful lady. She's a very, very skilled artist, and she's made some incredible horse patterns and done a lot of like cool research on horses in general. So I always look forward to when she designs things, but Summer is also super cool. Summer has like a really like a hallmark of her stuff is she does these like super lacy edges, and like let's show you, I'll pop one of these in the group chat. She has some of these super lacy edges and like kind of like high contrasty colors. It's really easy to tell when she's the one that's worked on something, just simply because of the actual like stylistic look of the model itself. I'll send the group from last year as well. This is last year's surprises. These were all the glossed ones. She's very like bold with her colors and patterning. And she's typically been the one that's done the surprises for the past like a while. So I don't doubt that we're going to see something along those lines again. And even looking at this specific photo is if there are 5 horses, and actually the deco's not in that one. Hang on.
Because they're the glossy version.
Right. So there was 6. So there was 6 last year, yeah?
Yeah, typically I think there's between 6 and 10 variations.
Okay.
I think are for those ones specifically because the Silver Bay was only glossy.
Okay.
Matte version.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so there was 10.
Okay. So the way we've kind of been looking at it as like, okay, so let's say hypothetically there's an average of 5 different variants or 6 different variants. There's 2 Pintos, like realistic colored. All these right now are realistic colored. So there's 2 Pintos. There's normally like a Tobiano, an Overo. So like in this specific case with last year's is like you had the gray Tobiano, you had the buckskin Overo, and then they did 2 Appies. They did a leopard Appy and a varnish Appy, and then they did 1 solid colored one, and then 1 decorator, which is the unrealistic, the blue guy. And that's kind of been the trend, is like 2 different Pintos, an Appaloosa, a solid, and a deco. Last year was weird because they threw in the extra Appaloosa, but it is what it is. They're throwing us off our game,
Is
lads.
what it is.
They're throwing us off our game, lads.
It's tricking us.
No, but just based on when Courtney and I went through and we tried to pick out what models, like molds specifically, we thought were going to be used at BreyerFest as a whole, because this year is driving and has a lot to do with carriage breeds. We kind of came to 2 conclusions for the surprise. There is Cree, which is a it's a pony, but like ponies pull carts, you know. It's super cute. It's is Cree popular?
Not really.
I would say about 50-50.
But I also wouldn't say that like the surprise is necessarily the most popular thing either, though, because sometimes they've used like vintage models, kind of,
To be honest,
the Andalusian.
sometimes I feel like they take advantage of the fact that you don't know what it is.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed. And the other, yeah, the Andalusian, which had like a really cool set of colors. I can probably pull that up for for Batsy, just for reference.
Yes, please.
It was a very neat set of colors, but the mold itself wasn't exactly that great.
And this is Hamilton one, right?
Hamilton is the other one that we think that this year is going to be. It came out like, when did he come out? Was he 2019?
18, I
18
thought.
for the Premier Club. And the mold is extremely popular, and it has never been used as a BreyerFest special run. And the pattern, the pattern that I keep saying doesn't exist. The typical
His
pattern
tail
with
is
Premier
here.
Club models is like, they come out in the Premier Club. That's exclusive. They aren't released as like a regular run for another year or two, but once they're in the Premier Club, the following year they end up being a BreyerFest special run. So we were all super excited for him to be a special run in 2019. That didn't happen because of the theme. And then I think they've just kept putting him off because he doesn't relate to any of the themes. You know, other than they probably could have just used an excuse to do him for the art theme. Like, but
Put some weird colors on it. It's fine.
yeah, like I would have liked to see him as a surprise horse for the art theme, but I'm kind of thinking that he's going to be our surprise horse this year because, number one, super duper popular model that would sell a lot of tickets, although like you don't know what you're getting until you actually open it
That's
up.
why I would say the opposite. I think he's gonna be there, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate against you guys and say that he's gonna be one of the ones that we know.
Okay.
I don't think they would take him as a surprise. I
No,
think they want to
because
pull people in with that.
that he would be our ticket seller. Yeah.
Yeah, that is my thought.
Just
Yeah,
for
so probably
Like the
reference.
sign was last year.
Yeah. Just for reference, I'm going to toss that 2019 surprise in the group chat just so that Batsy can see. There are some very, very cool colors in that batch, but that's not exactly a mold that people like. But yeah, you've definitely got a point, like, as far as people like Hamilton so much that it would kind of be like a little bit of a sin on Breyer's part to not make him a special run that people could actually like see with their own eyes beforehand.
Right.
Him. Witness him.
Yeah. Which, I mean, a lot of these models that are on our list are kind of interchangeable as well. So, like, you know, you could toss Hamilton in with that other category with the thing that's like popular and cool, or even he could be the color split, you know.
Color or gold split would be
Or gloss.
valid, I think. Yeah.
Or gloss split, which actually that would be kind of cool if he was either like, because you could do saddlebreds come in some really, really neat colors. A lot of times it's a Tobiano Pinto like that, what's on him in that picture. So you could do like a big blocky Tobiano Pinto in black and in bay, you know, or in Palomino, or like in some of the bajillion colors that saddlebreds come in.
For
But
sure.
they're absolutely using Hamilton this year, no matter what. No matter what it's for, he's gonna be in there. It would, however, probably piss a lot of people off if he was a store special, I feel like. But I
Or
don't
special.
store
Seems like a-
special, just to
the
catch
Stablemate.
Batsy up on so store specials are ones that are actually based on real horses. You don't need
Oh,
a
okay.
ticket for. Well, you don't need a 3-day ticket for, like a specific model ticket. You can walk it up into the store and get them at any time.
And then leave.
Yeah. There's typically less of those made than the regular ticketed special runs. But they've also been increasing the quantities now that they do online stuff. But regardless, like, Hammy is 100% that they're gonna use him this year. They have to at this point.
I think the Ninja Pit would actually be a little scary if there was a Hammy store special.
Yeah, for real.
We probably gotta tell Batsy what the Ninja Pit is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could drop that term with no explanation.
Please, I want to go.
It's kind of gone by the wayside now, because like what used to happen every year at BreyerFest is that on the very first day, so Friday morning, they would let everybody in at, is it 9? It's 9 a.m., right? 9 or 10. It's 9. And they'd let everybody in, and immediately people would run to the Breyer store. And on Friday morning, that would be the morning that Breyer would toss in all of their warehouse like extras, like weird things. I mean, people were finding models that were like test pieces. You'd find like long sold out special runs that now went for like 3-4 times their value. Porcelain stuff that was like the connoisseur models, which are now a discontinued series. I mean, it was basically like a treasure trove of stuff, and people would legit fight each other to get in there and get stuff. So it was called the Ninja Pit of Death, the N Pod.
So again,
I have
real quick,
an idea.
Uh-huh.
For some reason, I don't know why, but like strapless comes to mind for a surprise, and I don't know why.
But they had her as a special run in 2020.
2020 is not that close anymore.
It was 3 years.
Like they've used things within a 3-year interval.
Yeah, like I also pitched that to Courtney about like, hey, the mare and foal set could also be Giselle and Gillen because they're very driving typey models.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, that was something I brought up, and I did bring up strapless, but then we kind of went, yeah, 2020. But as a surprise, I feel like that's actually a pretty decent guess. Strapless in some, like, okay, even as a store special, I feel like you might see a strapless. And I know
It's just
they've
one of
done
those,
that in
like,
the past.
popular but older molds that I could see them using.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's going to end up in the special runs unless it's a surprise. Like, unless it's specifically the
definitely not.
surprise. I don't think you're going to see it show up. Unless
You know what?
it's a store special.
What's kind of interesting is that even like last night and all of that, we never brought up Salinero once, and people have been screaming for a Salinero surprise for years.
But I think the problem with Salinero surprise in this particular case is that it's not necessarily a driving horse.
Right, but
Does that matter for the surprise, though?
I don't.
It probably doesn't. It probably doesn't.
Cleveland Bay have to do with Germany.
Yeah, very true. Very true. They didn't have a deco in 2020 for the surprise. So it kind of makes me wonder if the theme, which I wouldn't think that a Celtic theme was too difficult to do a deco for. Sorry. But there's probably a reason that Summer does that. However, from what I remember Summer talking about the surprise horses is I honestly do not think that the surprise horses are designed specifically with the year, like the theme in mind, color-wise at all. Because I remember her saying something about like, oh, well, I did this like colorway years ago, and I thought it was going to be used at BreyerFest back then, but then they actually used it for like 2019, you know? So it's one of those things that like, okay, you got to wonder if like she's got a little bit of backlog if they're still using ones designed by her, because actually 2021 was Heather. The 2021 surprise horses were designed by Heather. And that's why they were all like very like odd / rare colors, which was very cool. But it does kind of make you wonder if they have a backlog of surprise horse designs that they pull out and they're like, this would be fun. Let's do this. It wouldn't surprise me either, because when you think about it, if someone goes into the Breyer factory to paint, you're gonna want them to just paint as much as they can, right? So if they've got a bunch of designs that they have to shelve for whatever reason, you can't tell me that Breyer wouldn't go back and go, oh, that was a really neat test piece. Yoink, now that's a special run. Whatever our surprise mold ends up being, I would still think that there's probably going to be a deco on it this year.
Nice.
Gold Charm would be really cool. It seemed like with last year and it being a Wedgwood that they're kind of trying to break out the vintage deco colors again, which is cool.
Yeah.
So maybe a Gold Charm would be nice.
I think the last gold charm model they did was on Nugget. So
Okay. Moving on to our vintage. There were more vintage molds that we thought could have fit pretty well. But we went with Old Timer. Old Timer is super cute.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't he
that's
adorable?
Grandpa.
Yeah,
Oh, he's a
Grandpa
little
horse.
hat. Oh, he's a little hat.
And his hat comes off.
Oh,
It's removable. You can actually like take it on and off.
yes.
But I have to say that like they've got to use Old Timer in some
I
way.
feel like it would be a crime not to.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
This is the year.
he's got harness, like he's actually got the harness trappings molded onto him. I think it would be a missed opportunity not to use him. He's also just one of those vintage molds that I don't care how wonky it is, everybody loves him.
I agree.
I don't know.
I've just met him and I love him.
Yeah, it's like I don't know of anybody that that doesn't actually like Old Timer. Like you might not collect it, but I don't know of anybody that hates Old Timer.
Well, I feel like really, really nice in these updated paint jobs.
He does look really good in updated paint jobs. I'll see if I can find a couple more recent ones. There was the National Parks one, I believe, that was really cool. That was like a chestnut pinto. That was super cute.
I know what you're talking about because it just reminds me of like St. Patrick's Day because of the
Yeah,
green
he's got the
hat.
green hat. I could see him being like a classic carriage horse color, but glossed. I think he's gonna be like your for sure gloss. I don't think they'll split it. It'll just be vintage gloss.
That if he's not at BreyerFest, this will be the worst one. Thank you.
So moving on from the vintage is the animal, the other animal, and we have two like they do a lot of cows, and I wish they would stay away from doing cows. We are hoping that it is either a moose or a zebra. There's definitely like proof, I want to say, that that's the term that I'm going to go with here, is like proof that both of those animals could pull a cart. In our area, I believe in like Canada and Alaska, there's like documented cases of moose being used for logging purposes. Knowing the team that designs these models, it would not surprise me if they knew about this kind of stuff and they were like, oh yeah, wouldn't it be cool if we did like a reference to moose because they drive?
It's like in real life.
Because the racing year they did a reindeer. They actually did do like it was a piebald reindeer in reference to reindeer races.
So much because piebald elk don't exist.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, yeah, so like Breyer doesn't actually have a reindeer mold, so they used an elk instead. So you can't even like show it as an elk, and you can't really show it as a reindeer because they're not like. It was fun, and the model itself is pretty, but it just, I don't know. I'm like, we could have had our zebra.
Liminal ungulate.
But as far as a reference for like zebra pulling carts, is there's a lot of photographic reference of zebras pulling carriages. Moving on, gloss split. I know we talked about Hamilton in this. I think that's definitely a possibility. I also think that Carrick is a mold that they may use this year. He's definitely got like the racing type look to him that because they've done a standard bred, or no, that was a thoroughbred. They did a thoroughbred on him before, but I think you could also pull off a standard bred on him. I show one of mine as an Orlov Trotter, and that's another driving breed, so I think you could go along those lines. You know, we also talked about Hamilton being thrown in the mix there as like a bay or something. Moving on, not much to talk about that. Not much to talk about that one. We think that this year there's going to be a mare and foal set because they did do one last year, so they could technically skip a year. But also there are some fun mare and foal sets we think that they could use this year. Secession and Lafire, which is the one that Courtney just posted in the group chat, is a really, really cute and popular set. Those could be in some fun colors. We were brainstorming and thought, oh, sooty buckskin for the mare and a black foal would be cute. But then the other one that Kenzie and I just brought up earlier is Giselle and Gillen. They have not done Giselle and Gillen as a BreyerFest special run since 2010, even though they used the mare in 2020. So I don't exactly feel like it's completely out of the question for that to be a thing this year.
I guess the only thing I'd say that maybe could discredit it is if we are thinking we're going to get that draft mare and foal set in the Premier Club this year, are they going to want to use that next year and then they're going to say, oh, this will be our skip a mare and foal year?
That's
Well, with
yeah.
them doing now, because I think when Kenzie and I first started going, there was only maybe 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing 9 like the last 3 years. So I think that's kind of a thing that they're going to start doing every year now.
Is a mare and foal set.
Yeah, because 2020 we had a mare and foal. 2021 we had mare and foal.
Are there enough of them for them to do it every year, though?
If they keep recycling them, then of course there are. What was the mare and foal set in 2021? We didn't have one.
Thought we did.
Nope. Or 2021, there was no mare and foal set, so we might be looking at their skip a year. You know, just saying.
None for you. Go away. Leave.
But if they
Good
do one this year, I don't think it's out of the question for it to be Secession and Lafire or Giselle and Gillen.
I would definitely like to see Secession again.
I know, I like that set a lot. It's a little older, but it's got a lot of character to it. Okay, next one is our mane and tail split.
Now, I did include ones
Oh,
those
mhm.
chunky boys.
with the random tails from other molds,
Uh-huh.
just because we don't know if they could do that again.
Right. That's true. They could.
And so there's the
So that's Wixom. So the 3 molds we're thinking of are Wixom, the show jumping Warmblood, and then surprise, we think that it could potentially be Niko, which was a brand new mold for last year's BreyerFest. We kind of think that because Breyer has lately been proving themselves to do multiple wigs for models, is that there is a definite chance that there could be a secret braided version of Niko that we have not seen before.
This thing, why?
Mane and tail split is like a known model, but the hair in the mane and tail is different too.
Yep, they'll show you the model as, like, I don't know if you want to say like the best version of it. I don't even know if that's necessarily true. They'll show it to you one way. Knowing what some of their wigs are and what models have interchangeable wigs, it's pretty easy to predict when they come out what ones are going to have that specific split. But I feel like if it was Niko, people would be extremely confused. That would be like major chaos, because we've never seen a braided Niko. I think that would be perfect. I would love to see a split on that, because I think he'd be adorable either way. And we said for that, like an Appaloosa or a Pinto for color. We also said those 3 for the color / pattern split, but then we threw Hamilton in there again. So that could happen as well. Deco, Goffert.
I definitely see it.
Frisians are carriage typey. And the last time they've used Goffert for a special run was 2010.
Oh, that's a Dalmatian.
Yeah, that was Labyrinth. That one's kind of cool. This is another one that I think, regardless of what color you see it in, that you're probably going to see it at this BreyerFest, because it's such an iconic carriage breed mold. I thought like a clear wear Goffert in like blue would be cool. The last of our actual special runs, we're thinking that they might actually use Animar. I think
We have a lot to talk about with Animar.
Oh, what did he do? Drop the call out.
you could do him in like some kind of like Overo, and still show him as like the breed that he's meant to be, which is a Berber horse, Amazigh horse. With molds that are so new, and like Animar just came out like a couple weeks ago. Like, people are just now starting to get him in hand. With them always using like one newer mold, I think there's a good possibility that you could see him in the special run lineup. Either that,
Oh, he's pretty.
or it's going to be Constantia, which is an actual standard bred. I don't doubt that you'll see that at BreyerFest in some capacity this year, whether it's in the special runs, the ticketed models, or like as a guest horse. Courtney's really, really, really gunning for some type of Clydesdale on Othello. Or you said the other one was Shannondale that you were thinking about.
Yeah. Either one I think would look really nice, as long as it's the loose mane and tail on Shannondale. I would be totally fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing was like, I want them to bring in the Budweiser Clydesdale so bad, but like I know they can't. So
Yeah, like a lot of the horses that come to BreyerFest, it's a voluntary thing. I don't necessarily think that Breyer pays anybody, except for like Sylvia Zerbini, who comes in and does an act. Double Dan Horsemanship, they come in. But as far as like the demos and stuff go, it's just like hey, this is really good publicity for your club. Bring as many members down as you want and ride, and we'll give you a time slot. And then the last store special that we have on our list is a Lipizan, which we thought about Duende, but then we also thought about Animar. Because I found this fella. Breyer has partnered with Temple Lipizans before to do models of their horses. Looking at this specific Lipizan stud.
Those are some goofy boys. Oh my.
This specific Lipizan stud is he's bay, which is unusual for Lipizans. Like, normally a Lipizan grays out, like almost like a huge portion of them are bay or gray. My bad. Yeah, like
how
white
he has
gray.
like a banana-shaped body for no reason.
I know. I love him.
He's a banana.
Yeah, so there's a picture of typical Lipizans. And a lot of the times, like, at least at the Spanish riding school, they don't typically have the ones that stay colored when they get older. They'll mainly keep the white ones. I could very easily see Breyer partnering with Temple again, and I could see it being on Animar, because chaos. All right, single day stablemates. The molds that we think they're going to use this year are Cassidy,
Oh my goodness.
Twist, the trotting draft mare. I love Twist. I want all the colors on Twist.
I mean, the trotting giraffe looks like one of those Lego Duplo things with the eyes. It looks like Playmobil.
I mean, you're not wrong. That's definitely an older one.
I like him. He looks like a seal. He looks like a Baikal seal.
It's so much like there's some really nice colors on that mold.
Yes.
It's probably one of the Stablemate molds that I'm like, it's older, but I give it a pass because it's like it's got like a weird charm to it. I don't know.
Now think about it. That specific picture of the one I sent is like a dead ringer for the surprise one.
It
Like
is the Cleveland
Right.
Bay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
They look nice.
Yeah, and then the last one we were kind of thinking is I know they want you to pronounce it Georg. I call this thing Gorg because it's just large.
Gorg. Smash.
Gorg.
I also am Gorg, so
Gorg. Gorg.
We do have on here too that like there's the G3 Frisian kit and the Walking Arab are ones that could also potentially be used, and the Irish Draft. So those are the molds we're thinking for the single day stablemates. Any of those could easily be options. Raffle models. We have a bunch of horses on here for raffle models as well. And for like from here on out, we're really not worried about colors. We're just gonna go with molds. Before we used to like go in depth about what colors we think they're gonna be. I'm just concerned about molds. So the Pasofino, what was his name? Cancion.
It's on.
We're thinking that that's going to be a raffle model, because it's the first Premier Club horse of 2023. So I think there's a pretty good chance. Karina and Celine was an option. Vermeer, also an option, because, and I do think it's going to be the Pasofino, and I think it's going to be Vermeer, because once again, Vermeer is a carriage breed, like it's a Frisian, and I don't think that you're gonna go through an entire driving themed BreyerFest without seeing Vermeer. Other options though is we also have Bobby Joe, because Bobby Joe's never been a raffle model. And
I
then-
love Vermeer. Vermeer, the physical embodiment of why the long face. Why does he look so sad? He looks like he's going to start fucking crying.
I want Batsy to go through the entirety of Identify Your Breyer and rate them purely on how sad the horse looks.
Okay,
The horse's expression.
I'll do it right now.
Oh my god. Prize models. Two types of prize models for the open show at BreyerFest is there are like there are glossies, which are existing models that are like in the regular run line that they are going to gloss up and give for like division or not divisions, like section champions, like the smaller champions. And then the overall division grand and reserve will actually get like prize, like specifically made prize models, unique prize models that I think are anywhere between like runs of 10 and 15, I think is what they are. So this year we're thinking that the open show, the section grand is going to be a glossy Battlefield Angel, glossy Ezra, which is the black and white Pinto Vermeer. The reserve, we're thinking glossy Get Rowdy, which is a gray Bristol. And then as far as for our overall division grand models, or overall division models, we're thinking they're going to do something on Ashquar and something on the vintage Clydesdale mare. For prize models, we also have like every year they do a diorama contest. The prize for that is usually something vintage. So we were thinking either the Sherman Morgan mold or the Stretch Morgan. We do have the best custom contest on here as far as like the prizes for that go. The prizes for that are a Premier Club model just recolored to be black and white. So the one that Courtney posted earlier, that's Karina and Celine. BCC, I'll tag that BCC prize. We think that those guys are going to be recolored to be black and white. and then given as like the best customs contest prize. So moving on to the pop-up store time. So every year they do a best of BreyerFest Stablemate set now, where they take old designs and they put them on stablemates. So this year we're thinking that they're going to do Truffles, which was a raffle model, I think.
Diorama prize
On Lyric. It was on the Henry Fjord model. So we're thinking that they're going to do that on Lyric. I think that would be adorable. Next thought was Parfait, which was a BreyerFest volunteer model, and that was on Smart Chick. And we're thinking that they're gonna do that on Mini Smart Chick. That could be interesting if they do that. Smart Chick and Mini Smart Chick. Next one we talked about was Kick Up Your Heels, which I think that was a raffle model. Can't remember the year, but that was a raffle model. And so Kick Up Your Heels was on the Fighting Stallion, so you could literally turn around and put it on the Mini Fighting Stallion. That would be super duper easy. Courtney's favorite, and I think our guaranteed, like I almost want to say this is pretty much guaranteed this year, is Jackpot, which was the Leopard Appaloosa Bristol on the Mini Warm Blood Jumper. Emo Hoodie Boy, that's our next one we're going to talk about. That's not his actual name, but that's what the internet has deemed that specific Icelandic color. Emo Hoodie Boy was a raffle model for 2021, and we think that he could be on the Mini Icelandic, which Icelandic on Icelandic, that's another really good one. Churchill.
Icelandic squared.
Yes. Churchill was a really popular volunteer model that I could see going on Mini Brishin. That'd be a fun one. We also came up with Mini Sinza. Sinza was a super popular raffle model, and that specific mold has a Mini Me, which is this guy, Mini Valegro. And then the last one we talked about was Mini Labyrinth, which Courtney posted earlier for the Goffert example. It's a black and white Appaloosa Frisian, and you could probably put that on the little G3 Frisian. The next one is they always do like a crystal horse every year, and we're thinking that it's Killarney. That's the mold name is Killarney. And that was a part of their porcelain collection back when they did the Breyer Gallery. The Stablemate decos are kind of like out there as well. Like a lot of the times they're clearware, or they've got like weird color shift colors on them. Cassidy, Kit, and George are our top three for that. They've typically done a classics deco. Past couple of years it's also been clearware. But we're thinking on Fairfax this year. Then there's always a plush in the pop-up store. The plush is fun. I don't know what they would do for a plush this year.
I don't know. I'm thinking something with a harness on.
Yeah.
Just like a cute little people harness.
Oh, what one? Oh, they're so cute.
They're adorable. Last year's was hilarious, honestly. He had lederhosen, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like Kenzie said, something with like it could probably be any horse color, but then they'd probably make like a harness that they'd put on it, which would be quite cute.
God, what if to fit with the theme, it's gonna be a horse in a car, like a Mario Kart plushie?
Oh, that would be so funny. That would be so funny. I kind of want them, now that you mentioned that, I do kind of want them to have cracks at horsepower and driving. That doesn't really change anything we've talked about, but I do think that would be very funny. Online special run. We also have Constantia and Vermeer for this one, for like the traditional, just because like those are very popular models. Last year they did George as a Rhenish Cold Blood, Rhenish draft. That was something that we thought was like probably should have been a special run, like a ticketed one, because it's a popular mold in a color that everybody wanted to see it in. So that's kind of why I'm thinking that maybe the online special run is going to be Constantia in some super cool, maybe a dapple gray color, because everybody's talking about dapple gray with her, or Vermeer in that classic black Frisian color. And then that special run last year was a matte and gloss split as well. All right, well, just to sign off of the YouTube portion of this, thanks everybody for listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. If any of these come true, that would be really, really awesome. But until they start putting things out, I guess we won't know. But see everybody in the next video. Bye.